Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be looking at the MJX X900 Nano Hexacopter from Allbuy. It is ridiculously cheap at just 13 GBP. Not only that, but the thing is absolutely tiny. The smallest multi-rotor I have is the Hubsan Q4 Nano. The difference here though is the price. The Hubsan Q4 was 30 GBP and you are getting near identical features here with this hexacopter. In the box you get the craft itself, which is available in black or white, a USB charger, spare props, and of course the transmitter. You will need two AAA batteries, which is the same as most of these nanos. The transmitter is identical to that of the Hubsan Q4, but it isn't using the same protocol. It is, however, the same style of transmitter that is used with a lot of other nano aircraft too. This one is really simple, which I like. The transmitter comes in only Mode 2 format, but that is not an issue. This time I'm keeping the TX in Mode 2 for a couple of reasons. Followers to the channel will know that I fly Mode 1. I have been considering learning to fly Mode 2 though as well, so that I'm able to have more diversity on the channel. Not only that, but the MJX protocol is now supported by Deviation TX software, which means I can take the Walkera Devo 7E transmitter, add an aftermarket transmitter module and bind it with the MJX. Also, it is my opinion that the MJX 900 will be great for beginners to the hobby, as it is a safe point to start and practice. Hopefully I will be demonstrating this with my limited Mode 2 flying skills. Incidentally, I took the transmitter apart to take a look inside, and I found it interesting that it had an external aerial opposed to the Hubsan transmitter, which has a trace antenna on the PCB. An external antenna is better, but it's not going to benefit too much here. You can't fly these nanos that far away from yourself, even with good eyesight. Another thing to take into consideration with this one is that if you do want to convert it to Mode 1, only one of the pots has a push button, and that is on the throttle side. To convert it to Mode 1, you will need to buy a secondary pot with a push button, otherwise you won't be able to change the 3 flight modes that this setup offers. You could easily get around this by buying a Hubsan Q4 transmitter, which has push buttons on both pots, and dismantling it. However, I have decided not to do it on this occasion. I really like the way the charger port has been integrated into the aircraft. You also have an on-off switch. The limitation with that though is you are not able to swap out the battery. However, the charge time is not that long, around 25 minutes, so this won't be too much of a problem. It has a 180 mAh one-cell battery, which will give us about a 5-minute flight. Let's take off and see how it handles. You can change the flight modes by pushing down on the throttle stick. The first mode is active as default, which is a low rate stability mode. The second mode is a higher rates mode, but the craft is still stabilized. The third mode is your flip mode, which can be a little bit tricky. If you don't cycle out of this mode once you have performed your flip, it will continue to do flips in the direction you input on the stick, so be careful of that. The aircraft hovers at about 50% throttle. The motors are running at a high RPM due to the tiny blades. The motors are warm to the touch when the flight has finished, but not to extreme temperatures such as other aircraft I have reviewed. It does have an LVC warning, but I have found it to come on quite late. The Hex definitely feels like it's losing its steam before the LVC kicks in, which is fine because I know it's time to land at that point. The aircraft has a really nice yaw rate, which is something that usually suffers on a hexacopter. Despite being a Mode 2 newbie, I am managing to keep it in close and fly really smoothly. As a Mode 1 veteran, learning Mode 2 is an interesting one. The easiest way I have tricked my brain into doing it is to rethink the sticks. When I was younger, I was a big Microsoft Flight Simulator fan, and I used a joystick and throttle combination. Mode 2 is exactly the same. The right stick is your joystick for aileron and elevator, and your throttle and rudder is separate like on the joystick. I was happy with my progress, however it required a lot of concentration to do so, as flying Mode 1 is second nature to me. So there you go, that is my review of the MJX 900 Nano Hexacopter. I have put the link in the description to where you can buy it. If you use the coupon code ANDY, that is ANDY, then for the next couple of weeks you can get 10% off as well. This is a great little hexacopter to get you going, and dare I say it, a nice stocking filler at that price. Thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.